Okay, I'm live. How are we doing, people? Let's just wait for some people to come on. This is my backup channel, and I've got about 1,000 people on here. So um, my other channel is like 17,000 people. So I don't know how many people are going to show up. It's a bit of a weird time as well, but we'll see. Um, there's a lot to get through. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about today. And yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and yeah, I think I'm going to get straight into it, and then we'll just see who shows up, and we can go through any questions at that point. The first thing that I really want to talk about is this whole. Hi, Deb. Oh, we've got 6 people in here now. It was weird. It just went from 0 to 6. So. I am hoping, by the way, that next month, fingers crossed, my old channel hopefully going to be back up again. So everything's hopefully going to be back up. Yeah, please give this video a like, guys. Really helps me out. And any questions that you have about anything, New Agers, entities, the Matrix, what's going on out there in the movie, so to speak, put it in the comments below. And yeah, I don't have all the answers, of course, but I'll give you my take on things. And yeah, it's great to be here doing one of these again. So the first thing that I wanted to speak about right now is, and I speak a lot about how entities masquerade, how you know what we consider to be like angels and friendly aliens and all this kind of stuff. Um, Presents themselves in a certain way to people and to obviously people like channelers. And they appear very much on the surface as good, as benevolent, as that they have our best interests at heart, and yeah, very manipulative. And of course, we see this at the point of death as well, with the soul trap and the false light, where the person is met by whatever they were into in their physical life. But one thing that is kind of interesting to me, not so much maybe the YouTube community, but I see a lot of people um, on my Facebook and in other groups where they're falling for these false saviors in the so-called movie that we're watching. Now, some of these false saviors would be people like Robert Robert F. Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy being one, um, Elon Musk being another. And what's really prompted me to talk about this is Russell Brand. It's been quite amazing to me how many people are sympathising with him, and I don't know. It's very obvious to me that these people are all just puppets for the system. They're playing a role. They're presenting themselves as the saviors of humanity, just like Trump did. And just time after time, so many people seem to be falling for it. I just find it quite interesting and frustrating at the same time, because it seems to me that, and again, I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone, and certainly not the community that we're involved here on YouTube. I think a lot of people have moved past that point, but there's still a lot of people that just are hanging around waiting for these people to come and do the work for them, or they really want to believe at a deep level that someone from like the mainstream, let's say, or some celebrity is on team truth, is fighting our battles for us. Because I think at a deep core level, they are too scared or too frightened to face that battle themselves, or they haven't gone through the internal process of, I guess, becoming sovereign, which I would suggest a huge aspect of that is knowing deep down that really, you're here to save yourself, and we're here as a species to save ourselves. And the thing that really gets me is that I don't even think that some of these people are convincing. Certainly, when you look at the devil in the detail, there's a lot of truth in that quote, in the devil in the detail. And I mean, when I look at Brand, I've done a New Age review of him, which is still up on my Bitchute and Odysee, and it will be hopefully back on my channel when my channel comes back live. But I just take one look at that guy, and his eyes are so demonic. Like literally, you can just see the demon working through him, and it just amazes me how little people are still discerning. They're not discerning. They're not discerning information properly. They're not discerning people properly. They're not really feeling into that person's energy. Um, they're not feeling into the information. Basing truth on how it makes them feel in terms of, yeah, I like that. That's making me feel good, like false hopium, so to speak. And I just look at someone like Brand. I'm like, how are people? How can people look at that guy, take one look at that guy, and put their faith and trust in him? Is beyond me. I mean, the guy is creepy as can be. Now, this goes without mentioning. When you do a little bit of digging, this is the other thing. People don't want to do a little bit of digging. They don't want to go that extra mile to figure out if that person is actually on our team or not. So when you look at someone like Brand, well, he was married to Katy Perry, who's like an Illuminati queen. He wrote a book, guys, called The Pied Piper, where he is pictured in the checkerboard outfit. The Pied Piper, right? Talk about telling you what his role is. And not only that, to make things worse, he played the child catcher in the opening ceremony of the London Olympic Games. Now, does that sound like someone that you want to put your trust in? He schmoozes up to the likes of like all the prominent New Agers. He's done videos with Eckhart Tolle and you know all the mainstream New Agers, you know, and yeah, it's just, and you have the community of people. And again, I'm not saying it's necessarily people in this community. This is just a general overview of where I feel that we are as a, let's say, the side of humanity that are trying to get to the truth and trying to move ourselves out of this mess. It appears to me that the overarching amount of people are still falling for these false prophets. And they have even said that when you need a savior, we will present you with one. And that's what's happening. And I think it's a deep psychological wound that many people have. Maybe it's even a collective wound where, and you see it with the programming in terms of like the children's programs. Growing up, there was always He-Man and Superman and Batman, and there was all these saviors. And I find that quite interesting when I think on that it seems to be like there's a subconscious programming going on with it. I mean, least not when you look at religion and you look at, you know, things like Christianity or all the religions. You know, they're all waiting around for Jesus or a savior or God or whatever. And it seems to be like hardwired into so many people, and they will fight to the back teeth for these people. When you mention this, I mean, I made a video on my TikTok about Brand, and he's got a groupie following, and a lot of them, you know, a lot of them are women, because I guess, you know, he's got that Jesus looking archetype. I guess some would say that he's kind of a good looking guy, and you know, so that's the other aspect. He's got like this groupie following that completely get triggered when you bring up these facts, because they're facts. He was the child catcher at the Olympic Games. He has written a book called The Pied Piper. This information is freely available. He even, a few years ago, defended a notorious paedophile in the UK, Rolf Harris, who used to present children's programs. And he schmoozied up to the likes of Jimmy Savile. He's got 33 tattooed on his arm. He's throwing up the devil's horns in all the pictures. Like, it's all over the place, because part of the game is they have to tell you, you know, what's really going on. But people are not discerning enough. Like I say, they don't want to go that extra mile, and they don't want to dig a little bit deeper to find out that their hero isn't actually a hero at all. He's just playing a role. Now, the role of brand is interesting, because this is what I feel is going to happen in the next few years, is that the likes of him, the likes of Elon Musk, the likes of Robert Kennedy, the likes of Trump, these are all going to become more and more prominent figures as the years go by. As we go deeper into whatever this is we're going deeper into, people are going to be angling more and more and more for someone to come and help, or come and save, or look for a leader, because people do not, and they haven't again gone through that internal process of realizing their own sovereignty, and realizing that really they should become their own leaders. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be like trailblazers and people like that, but really those people should be sparking that within the person. They shouldn't be playing that role for the person themselves. And this is what these people are doing. They are playing that role that the general public need to play for themselves. So understanding controlled opposition, and just how deep it goes, and how many, I guess, shills are out there, is very important, because if we just blindly follow those people, then we're going to get led into a cul-de-sac again, which is exactly what happened with Trump a few years ago. So many people thought that he was batting for our side, and then what happened? He changed gears, and then we had Operation Warp Speed and all that stuff. And but now there's still people there. There's still people there that are waiting for him, that think he's great. And I just feel like if we're at the stage where we're still looking at politicians to sort out our problems, then you have to question how far we've actually come. But and Robert Kennedy's another one. He's like the worst, because he's got this Parkinson's, which I don't even know if that's real, you know. And he's completely with the system. He's completely on board with the whole climate change rhetoric, and it's like all of them. They give you a few truths. They're all about, you know, the government's doing this, the government's doing that, and you know, the poison darts, and they're like 80%, 90% truth, and then there's the dump in the punch bowl, as I always say. But I really wanted to cover Brand today, because I mean, for many years, when he first burst on the scene, must have been near enough 10 years ago, I saw through him straight away. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that do see through him as well. But there's so many people that are clinging on to people like him, and as I say, all the other Muppet puppets that are out there presented as our next saviors. And it really just underpins what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this deceptive, manipulative, masquerading energy. So we see that same energy in the astral, with all the false light beings, with all the angelic beings, and the ascended masters, and the Arcturians, and the Egyptian goddesses, and all these entities that are giving a certain amount of truth, getting people to believe them, getting people to trust in them, saying the right things, communicating the right things. Oh, if you go here, you'll find your lost cat. She finds her lost cat. That's it. She's done now. Situations like that. And so that same expression of manipulation, deception, and masquerading we can see that working through the astral, through beings like Trump, Musk, and Brand. And that's essentially what we're dealing with. And I made a video not so long ago, which really proved what I was talking about, in the fact that these entities will masquerade. And it was a series it was an episode on Black Mirror where the girl was dealing with a demon, and at first she saw it as a demon, and because it frightened her so much, the entity said to her, "Oh, well, I don't have to look like a demon. What would you prefer?" And so she chose this character out of Boney M that she had a crush on, and so the demon was still manipulating the girl, but it had just taken another form, and it was still doing its thing, basically. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that off the bat because I feel like I wanted to. Guys, don't forget to check out my Bitchute, Odysee, my Telegram channel. Got some offers in there as well. Check me out on Telegram. As I said, hopefully next month my old channel will be back up. Ostries is asking what happened to the old channel. Basically, I got 2 strikes and 3 strikes and you're out. And then they also took another video down. So I had 2 strikes and they took another video down. So I understood that it might not be long before the whole thing gets taken down. So I've tried this strategy that has worked for other people, where I'm just hiding it for temporarily, and then hopefully it will come back up. So yeah, basically a little bit too close to the mark, probably. So Joyce says, "What is your view on disconnecting from ancestral legacy?" Okay, so clearing ancestral stuff is really inner work. It extends into inner child work. When I've held IFS sessions for people, quite often, if there is an abandonment wound, let's just say that the 3 or 4-year-old or 6-year-old has suffered some kind of abandonment, we deal with the child part of it. And then we ask if this is just the child's abandonment wound or if this is ancestral. And if it is an ancestral wound, then we will ask, is it on mum's side or is it on dad's side? If it's on mum's side, then we call in all the generations that where that wound started from. Maybe sometimes it's either both generations, so it can be an abandonment wound on mother's and the father's side, and then we go through a transmutation process, and we basically transmute that abandonment wound. So we basically banish it, so to speak, from the generational line, so that abandonment wound doesn't go any further. And so this is another reason why the inner work is so important, is because so many of us have ancestral wounds that we're not aware of, that extend right back into, our mother's side, our father's side, both sides, and they're just playing out again in our lives. And so if we can get to the bottom of those, then we're obviously we're ending that, and that's very powerful. So there's a good question there. I'm more interested in where these entities came from, who created them. I believe that they're like AI programs. I believe because they're not very creative, they're very one-dimensional. So, I mean, who created them is a very loaded question, because then you're going, well, who created AI? AI replicates things, so it's not very creative. But I do believe that this is. I've said before that this is like this Matrix is like a computer game, one of many games that we can experience. But this is kind of like gangster version of Sims, gangster Sims, and so. Yeah, something's happened here. I've said before in interviews that I don't believe that it's always been this way. I feel like this realm has been overlaid, and we have what we have now. I don't think that we were supposed to have all of this trauma and suffering. I mean, it's basically a farm. It's an energy harvesting farm, and we're the cows. And to get a good round of milk, they need as much fear, anxiety, depression, anger. That's like their caviar. So this is why we live in a world that's so full of that with wars and famines and constant things going on. It's why you open the newspaper or you turn on the television and it's just fear, 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 because that's what they're trying to milk from us, right? And so the cows keep coming back round through the soul recycling trap to be milked again through trickery and deception and manipulation and masquerading. And so, yeah, this is really just a temporary problem we've been caught up into. I don't really like using the word trap so much because it implies that we're here forever, and I don't think for many of us that is the case. I actually think that for many of us it's probably our last time around. So yeah, so that's basically what this reality is. It's and like a computer game, you have the source players, and you have the NPCs, and you have the bad guys, and that's basically what it is. So will the YouTube overlords reinstate your main channel? I like the healing videos. Yeah, so the healing videos are still they're still up on my Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble, so you can always find them there. I'm hoping the overlords will allow my channel back, because that's like nearly 10 years worth of work. This is why I took it down, because I'm like, okay, well, if I have to take it down for a few months to save 10 years worth of work, then it's worth it. So, what do I think of David Icke? Yeah, well, I still don't know really. I mean, David Icke was I came, like most people, I came across his information when I first woke up, if you like. Over the years, there's been a lot of things that I've not liked. Some of the guests that he has on his show. I mean, he had Elizabeth April on there. I think he's had Sasha Stone on there. So I don't know. I've distanced myself from his work and him. I think he was slow to call Trump out when all the QAnon stuff was going on. It took him really to the end of the illness to call out that psyop, and I felt that psyop needed to be called out way quicker, because so many people were falling into that net, falling into that funnel, and that funnel led all the way back to those documentaries that were put out, such as Fall of the Cabal and all of that, which I never shared. I never trusted those documentaries, just like I don't trust The Sound of Freedom. These are cult documentaries. And I felt that someone of his, well, with his reach, could have diverted a lot of people away from the whole psyop thing of QAnon. So I was interested to see what his views were on Russell Brand. I've been looking out for him because he's actually met Russell Brand, and he's done an interview with Russell Brand, which again is probably a red flag. But his son did say, which I felt was interesting, his son Gareth said that sometimes they will, in the movie, demonize certain people to give that person more credit. And I think this is what's happening with Brand. I think they're quote unquote demonizing him, and like it, so it looks like the system's after him, just like they did with Alex Jones, to maybe give him more credibility, to give, and again, this happened with Alex Jones. They took his channel down and all this stuff. And I feel that this is what the agenda is with Brand. I feel like that because he's getting so much sympathy out there. They're like, oh, the system's attacking him. So it must be on our team. And I'm like, whoa, 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 hang on a minute. So I feel when Gareth said that, I thought, well, yeah, I believe that. I think that's true. So there's a lot of weirdness going on around him, and you know, obviously some of his, he talks about entities and stuff, but there's some things that he's done that I'm not so sure on. I mean, I don't suppose that everyone gets it nailed on completely. I've made mistakes myself with the whole veganism thing, although I hold my hands up to it. Yeah, so Jane says, are there any entities that exist here that know about this matrix, or are they all posing as our dead relatives? Oh, they know about the matrix. Yeah, they know what this is. Yeah, they know exactly what this is. They know that they know what they need to do. They need to. So they're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know that they need our energy, and they know they need us to keep recycling down here. So the cows keep on getting milked, the fear and all of that stuff. The problem that they have now is that there's too many of us, and so that then they're unable to control us in the way that they want to. So they still need a certain amount of us, but right now it's too much for them. Especially, you know, everyone's speaking up, and this is part of the reason for all the censorship and everything like that. So yeah, they definitely know what they're doing, and that yeah, when they're posing as Jesus and Buddha and Archangel Michael, that's not really their real form. Normally their real form is very ugly, demonic looking. I mean, I was working on a client today, and I saw an entity that looked like the drummer out of Fraggle Rock. The first time I've seen it. So they don't particularly look attractive. Let's put it like that. They don't really have much of an existence when you think about it. Their whole existence is based on feeding on negative energy, and they look ugly. And they hate me for saying that. And they're jealous. They don't have any creative abilities. I mean, and that's why you probably see all these people like Bill Gates and all that stuff. And they never smile. They never really look happy. It's like, what kind of existence is that? That's one of the reasons why they hate us. They're jealous of us because, you know, we have souls, we're creative, and, you know, left unchecked, we would probably be able to create an absolute paradise on this planet. It's just they've retarded our consciousness up to such a point, and turned the world upside down and made it so demonic that we have the world that we have right now. So the Max says, I always thought Russell Brand was controlled op. Yeah, always controlled op. Do you think people that got the dart will die within a few years? Well, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a good thing for their lifespan. I think any shot in the arm is going to reduce, but if you look at what's in it with the graphene and stuff, I thought it was interesting the last few days. Did you guys see that they're doing like a discount on burgers in places like McDonald's and Burger King, and I think it was like 50 cents, or I don't know how much in all the countries, but it was heavily discounted. And I'm pretty sure there's all that like heavy metals and graphene in those burgers. I mean, I wouldn't touch one of those burgers if my life depended on it. But of course, a lot of the NPCs will. They'll love gobbling those up. So they're trying to get this into our body any which way they can, and so that's obviously a more direct way, I would imagine. But I believe that whatever they're spraying on us, they're also there's also that stuff in whatever they're spraying, because I've seen videos where they've seen like black, like graphene on the beach and stuff. So this is why I'm saying to people that heavy metal detox should be part of your, well, I would say at least monthly protocol. If not, if you're living in a city where they're chemtrailing heavily, I mean, I would be doing that nearly every day. And as you guys know, that I recommend chlorine dioxide. I got a strike for posting one of those videos, so that you can go to my Bitchute to detox from that stuff, as well as activated charcoal, as well as the glutathione. Obviously, there's the glutathione Lifewave patches, which you can find in the link in the video, which are good, which enhance your glutathione, which is your detox element of your body, by up to 300% in 24 hours. So yeah, very important to do heavy metal detoxes. Do you suggest chakra removal or AI tech removal? I would suggest the chakra removal is a good one to start with. That is one of their main. I've spoken before about the chakras being one of the main weapons that they use to hijack our energy. They lock into the chakras. So probably a good one to start. So yeah, if you want to do that, you just go to my website, go to the Healing with Tony section, and book it from there. So so yeah, what else have we got? Yeah, Sound of Freedom, very sus. Yeah. What was the other one? Oh, the other documentary was Died Suddenly. That was being shared everywhere, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, it had like 1 million viewers overnight. I'm like, no, red flag, red flag, way too popular. And it was very well made, and I just got the spidey sense straight away. And then I was calling it out. I was like, no, why is everyone sharing this? Why is everyone sharing it? And we're like, people were like, yeah, well, you haven't watched it. I was like, I don't need to watch it. I could feel it's off. And then eventually I watched the first, I tell you, and I'm not even joking you, I watched the first 2 minutes of it, and I turned it off. And you know why I turned it off? Because they started talking about the illness being real. And I'm like, there's the dump in the punch bowl. Of course, people are dying suddenly, but what that documentary did, it kept people in the mindset that you can catch a virus when you can't catch a virus. You can't catch a virus from someone breathing on you or someone coughing on you, or it's the whole that whole rhetoric is complete BS, germ theory. And that documentary implanted in the consciousness of those that were quote unquote awake, semi-awake, that you can still catch an illness. And that's where that's why that documentary was so dangerous, because if you can convince people that you can catch a virus, then you have carte blanche to do that in the future. So now it can be the next strain. And this video is probably going to get taken down, by the way. So, but I will upload it to my Bitchute and Odysee. So, and for those of you that haven't researched germ theory, basically, when you get a flu or a cold, it's your body's natural response. Your body is detoxing you. And so what it does when you get a toxic overload, it generates exosomes in your cells, and then you secrete them, and that's why you have your cold and flu symptoms. It's not that Joe Bloggs over here at work has a cough and a cold and he sneezed and you caught his germs. No, it's your body's way of clearing it. And the reason that we all get it around the same time, around the autumn and the winter time, is because just like everything in nature, there's a cycle. Where I'm from, if you go to the UK in the August, you see the leaves start to turn brown and yellow, and then they start to fall because then it's clear, and then the new leaves come in in the spring. And it's the same with our body. We go through this natural cleansing process most years around at the same time. That's why everyone gets flus and colds at the same time. And So this idea that you can just catch a virus needs to end, really, because it's a huge part of the deception. So, excuse me. What other question? Oh, it's nice that we got a few people on here. So, hi Tony, is your page coming back? Fingers crossed around mid-October. Do you feel clones walking around? Oh my God. Clones, NPCs, yeah. I mean, however you wanna describe them. I think most people with all the nanobots, and again, this is another reason to detox regularly, heavy metal detox. Those nanobots are conscious in the body, and they're controllable. And so many people, especially if you've taken that, are like remote controls. And so it can appear on the surface that, yeah, they're like clones. And I've found over the last few years, couple of years, that people have become more rude, more angry. There's less empathy. I don't really feel like necessarily the soul energy too much from many people I meet these days. Um, and I guess, it's probably, maybe it's done something to their DNA or whatever. But yeah, and I think, yeah, maybe some people are completely AI. Probably some of the people that they present to us, there's definitely clones. There's rappers that have been cloned, and I mean that's a whole nother rabbit hole. There's so much deception. I mean, yeah, uh, there's videos of skin masks, and you can tell that Joe Biden is wearing a skin mask, and you just rip it off, and it's a completely different person. And then you have all the transsexuals and the transvestites in the media and in sport, and with the tennis players. A lot of the tennis players are the women are men, and all this stuff. So it's all mockery. They love all that stuff anyway. So people that are presented to us, you don't even know if they're the original or if they're a clone or if they've got a skin mask or what. I mean, chances are they've got an entity working through them. So yeah, things like fairies and gnomes and stuff like that. Again, I wouldn't deal with them, and often entities will masquerade as things like fairies, and particularly if you have that affinity. Again, if you've got that, if you're really into all the nature stuff and fairies and all of that stuff, then they will show themselves up as a fairy. Trust me, if that's your thing, right? So got to be really careful with things like that. Bigfoot's quite interesting. I mean, maybe that's an interdimensional of a different nature. Um, but yeah, there's so many entity races out there, and I go through all of this in the course. If any of you guys want to learn how to clear this stuff yourself, and again, join the community. We've got we've got quite a lot of people in there now, and people are meeting up online. They're meeting up offline in some cases. So a lot of people say they feel alone with this information. So it's really good for that. And I do bi-weekly live now. So I do one for people in Australia and New Zealand, the Southern Hemisphere, and I do one for the Northern Hemisphere. So we do 2 weekly lives, and yeah, it's really, really good because, like I say, everyone should be learning how to use their own energy, strengthen their energy, and so yeah. My mother remembered a troll sitting on her chest in bed. She couldn't move. Yeah, entities will. Sometimes I see entities, and they often sit on the chest. The heart, that area is very targeted. They don't like the expansive heart. They don't like the frequency of the heart. So you often find that there's a lot of etheric implants around the heart. You'll often find that entities target the heart. There's sometimes a lot of portals around the heart because the the frequency is expansive. When you have an open heart and there's not so much hijacking, it does something to, yeah, the frequency of the person around them. And so you often find that that area is targeted quite heavily for a lot of people. Most people, in fact, have a lot of interference around there. Detox with silica water gets rid of aluminium. Fiji water is very high silica, but I make my own silica water. That's a good tip. I haven't heard that one. Jason Brashears, yeah, I'm not down with that guy. A lot of people seem to like him. I don't like his energy one bit. I haven't really looked at, listened to some of his stuff. I go on people's energies first of all, and something's off with him. I get very angry energy from him. 23rd of September. Yeah, there's often these dates banded around. I mean, you do sort of feel that something's in the air. What that will be, who knows? I mean, probably it's going to be something to try and get everyone on the central banking digital currencies that they're angling for. So maybe like some kind of something with the economy or bank run, something like that. And of course, they'll present the solution to the problem that they created, which will be the CBDCs. I feel like the next physical battle that we have is the CBDCs, because if it gets to that point where they control your money and they can switch it on and off, and it's linked into a social credit score, and we're moving into, well, that's China. That's basically China. I don't know if they're going to get that. I just feel like even if people aren't fully awake to things, I don't know if they're going to be able to get that. I just feel there's too many people. What are some of the practices you suggest we do in order to leave this place? Well, really, it's about information, and it's about learning what the deception is, and through the knowledge, then you can make better choices. You can make the right choices. So, in order to leave this place, I mean, I made a video which is on my other YouTube channel. It's on my Bitchute and Odysee and Rumble as well, and it's titled "My Plan to Exit the Matrix." And it is my plan. So I'm not telling you guys what to do, because you're also your own sovereign beings. But really, it's learning not to deal with any of these entities, and don't go to the light, all the obvious stuff. But then, to recap on it briefly, that video, it's knowing that your consciousness is like a car, and you have to drive it, right? Because if you don't drive it, someone else will take the wheel. And what's happening is when we're passing over, people don't realize they have a car. And so they're there in their car, and these entities are taking the wheel and say, look, go this way. There you go, life review, memory wipe, and the car's back down. The car gets driven back down. We need to take the car. And I'm driving out of this matrix. And intention is instant in that dimension, and it's very powerful. And if your intention is strong to leave, then you will get to the point where you can exit. Or I have a feeling that it might be just a case of ripping a hole out of the fabric of the matrix. I will share this with you guys because I found this was very insightful. I was working with a client, and it was an inner child session. She won't mind me sharing because it is such an insightful thing. And basically, her inner child was in trauma because she didn't want to be here, and she didn't understand why she was here, and she was frustrated at being here, and she was upset. And we had to explain. She was like, "Why am I here?" And we had to be honest with her, because you have to be honest to these inner children. And we were like, "Look, there's like a spiritual warfare going on, and many souls are being recycled back, and this is what's happened, but hopefully this is the last time round." And we told her the information, and she understood and she got it. And then at that moment, my client got this visualization of the little girl was there was the fabric of the matrix, and she had like this dagger, and she just used the dagger to exactly rip a hole through the fabric. And it came at such an insightful moment. And because everything exists at the same time, she was already getting that download of something that she already knew. And so I was like, right, that's interesting. So I think I'm going to add the dagger to my toolbox when I leave. So I'm going to create a dagger, and then I'm going to go. And then if I need it, I'm going to rip it a hole out of the fabric of the matrix. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that because it came from her inner child, and it was very insightful. So Howdy Mikowski, yeah. When I come back on my other channel, I'll look to get some more guests on as normal, but the right guests. I don't just invite everyone onto the channel. I try and put out information that is as accurate as it can be. There's a lot of channels out there that just they flood their channels with all kinds of different information and new age stuff, and I'm like, whoa. I want my channel to be precise as it can be. That's always been my aim. I'm not interested in all the bells and whistles and opinions of people that have about this and about that. I want the truth, the 100% truth about this realm, about what is controlling this realm, about what we need to do to combat these things and how we get out, and all the rest of the stuff. I'm not interested. So for me, it's about how do we enjoy it as best we can while we're here, and be free of a lot, not free, but be energetically clearer and be healthier and enjoy the experience while we're here, and then how do we get out? That's really my tour. And obviously I want to expose all this fake spirituality, because that is one where so many people are getting trapped and hooked into and deceived again. And just on that note, guys, interestingly enough, I uploaded on this channel my review of Magenta Pixie that I did 2 years ago. I just thought I'd give it a go, right? It's a new channel. I thought I'm just going to upload it. And I'll be honest, I was a bit lazy that week. I didn't really want to make any content. So I re-uploaded it, and it went on, and she tried to take it down again, right? But last time she tried to take it down, YouTube agreed with her and I had to take it down. This time YouTube disagreed with her and it's allowed to remain up, which I find hilarious, right? She must hate me. She really must hate me. And then I re-uploaded the Elizabeth April one, because you cannot find that review that I did of her anywhere. Even when my channel's live, it's so shadow banned. You try and Google it, you can't even find the thumbnail. I was looking for the thumbnail to re-upload it. I couldn't even find it. It's so shadow banned. Anyway, I re-uploaded it, and within a day, she'd copyright striked me. But YouTube agreed with her, so I had to take it down. And I find it so interesting because, all these people, they're all about freedom and freedom of speech, and all this like feel good, a lot of them. And as soon as you say something that they don't like, they're trying to take you down, and it's just hilarious. But those people, the New Agers, that's the other part of what I'm trying to do here. I want to get people walking that path of sovereignty, and self-leadership, and just leaving all that bullshit aside, which is really only going to make things worse. Like I said so many times, it feels good in the moment, but it's dangerous. That information is dangerous. So Carmen says, are we just food for the dark entities and archons, or is there any good news that we can end up in any dimension with good beings? Oops. Yeah, so this matrix, the fourth dimension, is really the dimension of the entities. And I've said before, people taking ayahuasca and DMT, and they're like, "Oh, I've seen the light. I've seen the truth." No, you haven't. You've just seen an entity realm, basically. So, of course, where's the good stuff? There's a lot of heart-centered soul beings here. So, they're sometimes a little bit hard to find, granted, but they are here. And so, but is there good beings somewhere else out there in creation? Yeah, I'm sure there is. But in this matrix, the overarching theme is trauma based, so that these entities can feed on our energy. And so, what time is it? How long? 50 minutes. These go so quick. I like the fact that you don't use ridiculous clickbait titles in your videos. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. Um, in some videos about removing chakras, it says that people only have 3 chakras. There are Earth, Star, and Crown chakra. Do you think this is true? Um, I very much believe that there are 7 chakras, the 7 that you see in the New Age, the 7 plugs. They're etheric plugs. I don't even call them chakras. Just call it an implant. It's basically an implant. So yeah, there's all kinds of different theories on the chakras. It's just an implant, one of many that needs to come off, and one of their more important ones. Let's put it like that. But there is everyone focuses on the chakras, but there's a lot of other overlays, implants, and all kinds of stuff that also needs to be removed. The chakras is really sort of like 0.01% of the things that I clear during the session. So, but the thing is, what I want to get people to understand is that, and I've said this before in interviews, that the hijacking is incredible. Like if you look at what they're doing just in this physical domain with all the poisons in the food, the water, the air, the mind control, the constant low vibrational state they keep us in, the scarcity they keep us in, like everyone's trying to survive and all this stuff. Like that alone is incredible, right? But then when you add to what they're doing in the astral as well and hijacking our energy there and our energy bodies and all that kind of stuff, it really is incredible. Like the level of hijacking that they need to do to keep us down. And so I always want to try and get the message across to people that you can look at this 2 ways. You can look at this like, oh my God, look what they're doing, and like that's playing into their hands. Or you can look at it from the other way and like, wow, like we must be absolutely powerful beyond measure if they need to do all of this to us. And we are. And that's really what I want to get people to really embody. I really want people to embody that feeling of, I'm a human spirit, and that means a lot. And if it didn't, they wouldn't need to do all the stuff that they're doing, and they're panicking. And the other important thing is to try and enjoy things while you're here. I know it's difficult, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and we don't know what's going to happen and everything like that. But I've said before, they're not going to steal my dreams. They're not going to steal my joy. Because if you start going down that road of letting them control how you feel, and don't get me wrong, I'm not spiritually bypassing here. If you've got heavy entity attachments, it doesn't matter how much, positivity that you think, they're going to hijack you and they're going to try and make you feel bad, and probably will some of the time. But we have willpower, and that trumps a lot. And I think everyone's aim should be to try and enjoy it while we're here. Hopefully, it's the last time round. And I said this on an interview. I think it was a typical skeptic podcast the other day. I'm like, for me, I feel like I'm on my way out. Hopefully, this is the last time, and I'm going to try and have a party on the way. I'm going to try and help people on the way. But I have things that I want to do, both professionally, personally, things that I want to achieve. And I'm not going to let them stop me, right? I'm not. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to try and enjoy my time here. And I'm going to get enough information together that I know what my plan is when I leave. I'm going to make sure that energetically I'm as clear as I can be while I'm here. I'm going to clear as much of the crap, the cords and the contracts and all that stuff. So, you know, I don't really have that baggage. Physically, I'm going to look after myself so I feel good. I'm going to try and eat the right things, and I'm going to just try and enjoy the time that I have here. And of course, there's going to be some probably big downs along the way, but my overarching feeling is no, I'm not going to let these asshole entities dim my shine. And trust me, they want you to dim your shine. They want you at home, depressed, sad, angry, in fear about what they're going to do, what's coming, and all that stuff. And we can't allow that. You know, we have to. Sometimes we have to have a good word with ourselves, don't we? And like I say, I'm not. You guys know me. I'm not all about spiritual bypassing and fake positivity. No, we still need to face all of this. We need to learn what we need to learn. We need to take the action as well to implement things like doing the inner work and doing the clearing and all this stuff and doing the heavy metal detoxes. We have to take that physical action and move in the right direction. But don't let these I don't know what to call them, parasites. That's what they are. They're parasites. Don't let these parasites steal all your joy in your life. And so, yeah. Tony, you had a meditation video about something, but I can't access it because your channel is closed. Yeah, so my channel is hopefully temporarily hidden, and it should be back next month. So everything will be back hopefully next month. In the meantime, it will be on my Bitchute or my Odysee or my Rumble channel. You can still find that video there. So you just need to scroll down and look for it there. It will be there. So all the links of my other channels are in the description. My website, my course, everything is in the description if you want to check any of it out. I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. It's more or less an hour, and I feel like I've left it on a positive as well. So, Calais, I will answer your question. It's just that one's a bit heavy for the end of this video, so I will get to that on the next one. But yeah, guys, as usual, thanks for listening. Don't forget, check out my Odysee, Bitchute, Rumble. Check out my Telegram, guys. All the links are in the description. Check out my website. Sign up to my email list, guys, because if I lose you or if I lose the channels, then I can still contact you. Just sign up on my website, transcendingtimes.org. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. Keep your chins up, everyone. Make sure you find the joy, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.